barefoot, in this jungle. They are not soldiers, they are children. Laughter cuts off abruptly. Silence. Then, a single, high-pitched whistle. In the Kabaw Valley, the laughter of the Imperial Japanese Army stopped, and a new sound was heard, a sound that meant the Gurkha had come to hunt. May 14th, 1943, 11 a.m. The Kabaw Valley, Burma. The air is so thick you chew it. Sergeant Kenji Tanaka, of the Imperial Japanese Army's 33rd Division, presses his eye to the narrow firing slit of the bunker. The world outside is a suffocating, vibrating wall of green. Water doesn't just fall here. It hangs in the air, a permanent, lukewarm mist that rots cloth from the skin and turns rifle oil to sludge. For 6 days, the monsoon has been a solid, roaring curtain. Inside the bunker, a deep, well-camouflaged pit of earth and bamboo air stinks of sweat, damp cigarettes, and the metallic tang of hoarded ammunition. Tanaka is a veteran. He fought at Shanghai. He knows what real war looks like. This is a war against nature, and he is winning. His subordinate, Private Sato, a young recruit still cursed with the pallor of Tokyo, nervously scrapes mud from the trigger guard of his Arisaka rifle. "Sergeant," Sato whispers, his voice barely audible over the deluge. "The patrols, they report. The British have moved. The prisoners we took, they said they are bringing in new soldiers." Tanaka turns his head slowly. He takes a long, slow drag from his damp cigarette, the paper sticking to his lip. He doesn't just look at Sato. He examines him, like a piece of faulty equipment. "New soldiers," Tanaka says, his voice a low rasp. From the corner, Corporal Hideo, a man built like a small ox, chuckles. The sound is wet and ugly. "He means the little ones, Sergeant, the ones from the mountains." Sato straightens, trying to sound professional. "They call them Gurkhas, Sergeant, from a place called Nepal." The name hangs in the damp air for a moment. Then, Hideo laughs. It's not a small laugh. It's a full-bodied, guttural sound of pure contempt. Tanaka allows himself a thin, cruel smile. "I saw one," Hideo says, wiping a smear of grease onto his trousers. "Through the binoculars, 2 days ago. The British were marching them past the Chindwin. They are tiny, children, barely 5 feet tall. And their equipment?" Tanaka adds, picking up the thread of mockery. "The British don't even trust them with proper kit. No standard-issue boots." "Exactly." Hideo slaps his knee. "I saw them. They were marching in the mud barefoot. Can you imagine? Barefoot, in this jungle." The bunker fills with muffled, superior laughter. "In this jungle." The Kabaw Valley, known to the British themselves as the Valley of Death, a place where the ground was a carpet of snakes, leeches, and razor-sharp, pungy bamboo stakes. A place where a simple scratch could turn into a festering, limb-rotting ulcer in 12 hours. The idea of an army of barefoot children trying to fight here, it was a joke. "They are mercenaries, Sato," Tanaka says, turning back to the firing slit. He dismisses the recruit and the topic with a wave of his hand. "They fight for British money. We fight for the Emperor. For Bushido. They have no spirit. They are chikusho, animals, hired for a task they cannot comprehend." He looks out at the Japanese position. It is a masterpiece of engineering and fanaticism. A complex, interlocking network of deep trenches, sniper nests, and reinforced bunkers like his own, all dug into the red, clay-like earth. Every firing lane has been meticulously cleared. Every approach is covered by a Type 92 machine gun. Their position is, Tanaka knows, impregnable. The British are clumsy, the Americans soft. And these Gurkhas, they will be broken before they even see the wire. As dusk pulls a grey, wet blanket over the valley, the laughter subsides. The jungle, which had been loud with rain and birds, falls into a strange, watchful rhythm. The men eat their cold rice. They check their weapons. The Type 92 seconds are loaded, their water jackets topped. Tanaka takes the first watch himself. He trusts his own eyes above all. The rain softens to a drizzle. The air cools. The jungle night comes alive with its own orchestrate, frantic croak of frogs, the shriek of a distant monkey, and the incessant, high-pitched whine of malaria-heavy mosquitoes in his ear. These are the sounds Tanaka knows. They are the sounds of his territory. He settles in, his rifle across his lap, utterly confident in the strength of his position, the weakness of his enemy, and the silence of the night. The barefoot soldiers can stay out there in the mud and shiver. They are nothing. May 15th, 1943, 2:17 a.m. The Kabaw Valley. The night is absolute. The monsoon has paused, swapping its roaring deluge for a fine, suffocating drizzle that drips from every leaf. Sergeant Tanaka is perfectly still, his eyes tracing the line of barbed wire glistening 50 meters in front of his bunker. The mud between the wire and his position is a churned, viscous soup. Nothing could cross that open ground, he thinks, not without a sound. He's been on watch for hours. The jungle orchestra is in full swing, the frogs, the insects, the maddening zzzz of a mosquito near his ear. Then it stops, not all at once, but in a patch. To his left, near the creek bed, the frantic, high-pitched chirping of the insects simply ceases. Tanaka's body tenses. Every nerve, honed by years of combat, screams. He leans forward, his knuckles white on the Arisaka's stock. He squints into the darkness. That's a classic sign of movement. A large animal, maybe. A pig. Or a man. He scans the ground. Nothing. Not a silhouette. Not a ripple in the mud. He listens, holding his own breath. He hears only the drip, drip, drip of water and the thud of his own heart. He's about to dismiss it, just the jungle playing tricks, when he sees Private Sato, on watch in the next trench emplacement, stiffen as well. Sato looks over at Tanaka, his eyes wide with a question. Tanaka gives a short, sharp shake of his head. Hold your fire. Don't reveal the position. Sato turns back, and then it happens. A sound pierces the wet, heavy air. It's not a gunshot. It's not a shout. It is a high, thin whistle. Not a man-made brass whistle, but a human one. A rising, bird-like call that seems to come from nowhere and from everywhere. It's a searching, hunting sound, a sound that does not belong here. Before Tanaka can even process the impossibility of it, the sound came from inside their cleared perimetera. Scream tears the night open. It's a sound Tanaka has never heard, not a cry of banzai, or a yelp of pain. It is a bubbling, choking shriek, a noise of pure liquid terror that is cut off mid-breath. It came from the forward listening post, 20 meters ahead of the main trench. "Flares! Flares!" Tanaka roars, his voice cracking. A second later, a white-hot magnesium flare pops high above the ridge, flooding the scene with a ghastly, flickering daylight. The trench line erupts. "Teki!" Sato screams. "Enemy!" The Type 92 machine guns open up, their heavy thok-thok-thok hammering the night, sending tracers lacing into the trees. Rifle fire joins in, a panicked, rattling volley aimed at shadows. The Japanese pour fire into the empty kill zone. Tanaka is scanning, but he sees nothing. No attacking force. No charging infantry. Just the mud, the trees, and the pockmarks of their own bullets. "Cease fire! Cease fire!" he shouts, but the panic has set in. And then he hears it again. The whistle. This time, it is not in front of him. It is behind him, from the communication trench connecting his bunker to the rear. Corporal Hideyoshi Man, who had laughed so loudly at the barefoot soldiers, was stationed there, at the junction. "Who's there?" Hideo bellows into the dark. "Identify. Nani." The word is not finished. It is sliced off, replaced by a sound like a wet axe hitting a side of beef, a thwack, followed by a heavy sliding thud as a body hits the muddy trench floor. The bunker goes deathly silent. Private Sato, his face the color of wet ash in the dying flare light, looks at Tanaka. The main assault hasn't come. There is no main assault. Tanaka slowly, mechanically, checks the safety on his rifle. He feels a coldness that has nothing to do with the rain. He moves to the rear entrance of the bunker, the one that opens into the trench Hideo was guarding. He edges his head around the bamboo-reinforced corner. The flare is gone, plunging the world back into darkness. He can smell the cordite from the panicked gunfire. He can smell the damp earth, and he can smell blood, hot, coppery, and fresh. A new sound begins. A slow, rhythmic drip, 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 into a puddle, just around the bend. It is faster than the rain. Tanaka stares into the black void of his own trench system. The laughter from 12 hours ago echoes in his head, a hollow, stupid sound. The barefoot soldiers were not on the other side of the Chindwin. They were not shivering in the mud. They were here. They were inside, and the hunt had just begun. May 15th, 1943, 2:21 a.m. The Kabaw Valley. The dripping. It's the only sound Tanaka can focus on. Drip, drip, drip. Sergeant. Private Sato's voice is a choked, high-pitched squeak from inside the bunker. What? What was that? Who is in the trench? Tanaka doesn't answer. His mind is racing, trying to build a new reality. Behind him, inside the wire, inside the trench. How? The mud, the open ground, the machine guns. It was impossible. And then the laughter from the morning Hideo's ugly, superior laugh returns to him, a sick, hollow echo. Barefoot. He had seen it as a weakness. A sign of a primitive, poorly equipped levy. He sees it now. A boot is a clumsy, heavy thing. It sucks in this viscous, ankle-deep mud. Pulling it free makes a loud, popping slurp. A boot slips on wet bamboo and stone. It is loud. But a bare foot is silent. It can feel the ground. It can test a twig before putting weight on it. It can grip the slick, clay-like earth like an animal's paw. They hadn't tried to storm the position. They had crawled. For hours, moving inches at a time, right under the noses of his sentries. They had moved like the snakes, and the jungle had accepted them. Sato. Tanaka rasps, his voice a dry crackle. Fire a flare. Aim it high. He doesn't wait for the light. He is a sergeant of the Imperial Japanese Army. He will not cower. He flicks the safety off his arisaka, holds it tight to his shoulder, and pivots out of the bunker's rear entrance, straight into the connecting trench. The blackness is absolute. The smell of copper is overwhelming. He takes one step. His sandal slides on something thick and wet. Pop hiss. Whoosh! The flare that Sato fired from the bunker's firing slit ignites, casting a stark, flickering white light over the scene. Tanaka freezes. Corporal Hideo is at his feet. Or, what was Hideo? He is slumped against the trench wall, his helmet rolling in the mud. His eyes are wide, staring at the rain. His throat, Tanaka's stomach, tries to claw its way up his back. His throat is gone. It hasn't been cut. It has been opened. A single, massive, semicircular blow that hacked clean through gristle, spine, and vocal cords. The dripping sound had been Hideo's life, emptying into the trench floor. Tanaka's eyes snap up from the body. Standing 10 meters down the trench line, at the junction Hideo was meant to be guarding, is a shape. It is small, as Hideo had said. But tiny was the wrong word. Compressed is the only word Tanaka can think of. He is a coiled, compact shape of pure muscle, standing in a way that suggests he is perfectly balanced, perfectly at ease. He is not wearing a helmet. His uniform is a dark green, but he is stripped to the waist, his skin and trousers caked in the same red-brown mud as the trench, a perfect, living camouflage. He is still, and in his right hand, he holds the source of Hideo's death. It's not a bayonet. It's not a sword. It's a heavy, forward-curving blade, as long as a man's forearm, with a wicked, wide belly, a kukri. In the flickering, chemical light of the flare, it gleams a wet, dark red. The man, the Gurkha, looks at Tanaka. His face is broad, his features flattened. There is no hate in his eyes. No fear, no rage. There is only a flat, terrifying calm, the calm of a butcher in a slaughterhouse. Time stops. There is only the rain, the flare, and the two men. Tanaka reacts. He brings his arisaka up, his fingers fumbling for the trigger. The range is impossibly close. He cannot miss. The Gurkha does not retreat. He does not charge. He smiles. Then, He raises his left hand to his mouth and lets out that same, high, bird-like whistle. A signal. Job done. Before Tanaka can pull the trigger, the shape moves. He doesn't run down the trench. He places one hand on the trench wall, one bare foot on a bamboo support, and in a single, fluid motion, he vaults up and over the parapet, disappearing into the impenetrable jungle beyond, as if swallowed by the night itself. A second later, from far to the right, at the other machine gun nest, another whistle answers. It is followed, instantly, by a new chorus of screams. The raid is not a single assassin, it's a pack. Fire! Tanaka screams, emptying his rifle into the darkness where the man was. Fire at everything. The night explodes again in a panicked, useless roar of gunfire. But Tanaka knows, with a sinking, icy dread, they are shooting at ghosts. The laughter has died in his throat. This is not war. This is a culling. May 15th, 1943. 2:26 a.m. The Kabaw Valley. The night is no longer a shield. It's a hunting ground. Tanaka stands over Hideo's cooling body, his rifle barrel hot, his nostrils filled with the acrid smell of his own wasted cordite. The firing from his position is ragged, useless. But the firing from the other position, the Type 92 nest to the east, is a continuous hysterical scream of machine gun fire, chewing up the jungle, the mud, and its own wire. Sergeant. Private Sato is shouting from the bunker, his voice cracking with puberty and terror. Sergeant, they are attacking. The east flank is... Silence. Tanaka roars, forcing his voice to obey. He reloads his rifle on instinct, his hands shaking. Control. You must control. He shouts into the night, toward the other nest. Report, Endo. Report your situation. The only answer is the thok-thok-thok-thok of the Type 92, firing in a long, uncontrolled burst, until it suddenly stops. The gunner hasn't just paused to reload. The gun has been abandoned mid-belt. The silence that follows is heavier, more terrifying, than the gunfire. Then, the whistle. High, clear, and triumphant. It floats from the eastern nest, a chilling echo of the one Tanaka just heard. They're in. They're in both positions. Sato! Tanaka screams, running back to the bunker. He grabs the young private by his collar, hauling him out of the firing slit and into the muddy trench. Light. Give me light. Keep firing flares, now. Sato fumbles with the flare pistol, his hands slick with sweat and rain. He fires one. It streaks up, pop hiss, whoosh. The chemical light once again illuminates the nightmare. Tanaka risks a look over the parapet. His heart sinks. The barbed wire, the pride of their position, is untouched. There are no craters, no ladders, no bodies piled against it. The Japanese position is a perfect, sealed box, and the killers are inside the box with them. The laughter, the barefoot soldiers. He sees it all with a blinding, sickening clarity. They had crawled, on their bellies, for hours, in the mud, under the monsoon, under the wire. They had moved with the patience of the spiders, the silence of the leeches. They hadn't cut the wire. They had slithered through the drainage gullies and culverts that Tanaka himself had dismissed as too small for a man. But he was wrong. They weren't men. They were Gurkhas. Aye! A new shriek, this one from the mortar pit 40 meters to the rear. It is a wet, gurgling sound, a man trying to scream through a throat full of water or blood. Tanaka is no longer a commander. He is a cornered animal. He must know what he is fighting. He shoves Sato back into the bunker. Stay here. Fire on anything that is not me. He leaves the relative safety of the bunker and plunges into the communication trench, back toward the main line. He runs past Hideo's body, his sandal slipping in the widening pool of blood. He runs toward the junction that leads to the eastern machine gun nest. The flare dies, plunging him back into darkness. He doesn't care. He runs. He smashes around a corner and collides with a standing figure. Tanaka shouts, raising his rifle. The man just groans. Sato fires another flare. The light reveals Private Ota, the feeder for the Type 92. He is leaning against the trench wall, his hands clutched to his stomach. He is not shot, he is disemboweled. His own entrails are sliding through his fingers, steaming in the cool night air. He looks at Tanaka, his face a mask of confusion, and slides down the wall, dead. Tanaka stumbles back, horrified. He looks into the gun nest itself. The gunner, Endo, is slumped over the hot breech of the Type 92. His head is missing. It is not gone. It is lying in the mud 3 feet away, his helmet still on, staring sightlessly at the rain. The work of the Kukri is not clean. It is brutal. It is agricultural. It is the work of a butcher, hacking a carcass into pieces. This was not a fight. It was a harvest. Thwack. Tanaka spins. The sound came from behind him, back near his own bunker. A dull, heavy sound, like a club hitting a melon. "Sato," he whispers. No answer. Only the drip, drip, drip of the rain. The whistles, the screams, the butchery. This was not an assault to take a position. They had no heavy weapons. They hadn't brought grenades. This was terror. This was a message. This was a psychological evisceration. Tanaka is alone. He is standing in a trench system that has become a charnel house, surrounded by pieces of his men. The flares have stopped. Sato is gone. He looks up into the black, weeping sky. The laughter from the mourning the superior, arrogant laughter at the barefoot soldier's claws at his throat. He wants to laugh. He wants to scream. He is no longer a veteran of the 33rd Division. He is no longer a soldier of the Emperor. He is just a man in a muddy grave, listening. Listening to the jungle, to the rain, and to the terrifying, impossible silence, waiting for the whistle that will mean it's his turn. May 15th, 1943, 2:32 a.m. The Kabaw Valley. Silence. A thick, wet, predatory silence. Tanaka is breathing in shallow, ragged gasps. The air is too thick. It tastes of rain, mud, and the slaughterhouse stench of his own command. He is still in the eastern gun nest, standing over the severed head of his gunner, Endo. He has to move. To stay still is to die. He backs out of the nest, his arisaka held at his chest. The rifle, a tool of long-range, impersonal death, feels useless. It's a clumsy, heavy club. What he needs is a sword. What he fears is the knife. He looks left, toward the main trench. That way leads to Hideo's body, and the bunker where Sato was silenced by that sickening thwack. He looks right, toward the rear communication trench that connects to the main garrison, 100 meters up the hill. Safety, report, reinforcements. He chooses right. He takes a step. His Buta standard issue, hobnailed jikatabisucks, at the deep, bloody mud. The sound is A-S-C-H-L-U-R-P. In the vast, wet silence of the jungle night, it sounds like a cannon shot. Tanaka freezes. His blood turns to ice. He listens. Nothing. Only the drip, drip, drip. He takes another step. S-C-H-L-U-R-P. Louder. He is a child stamping in a puddle. He is a clumsy giant. He curses the heavy, standard-issue equipment he once saw as a mark of superiority. And he understands, with a fresh wave of terror, the genius of the barefoot. They can hear him. They can hear his every, clumsy, terrified movement. He glances up, over the parapet. The jungle is a wall of black. He is in a ditch, a pre-dug grave. He forces himself to move. One step, pause, listen. Another step, pause, listen. He is 10 meters down the trench, 20 meters. He passes the junction to the mortar pit, its dark mouth gaping. He doesn't look. He can smell the death from here. He is halfway to the rear line command post. He might make it. He might just. A whistle. Not in front, not behind. It is above him. On the lip of the trench, not 5 meters away. Tanaka stops breathing. He slowly, so slowly, raises his head. The flare is long dead, but the moon, hidden behind the monsoon clouds, provides just enough ambient, watery light to define a silhouette. It is sitting on the parapet, cross-legged, as calm as a man waiting for a bus. The man is not camouflaged. He is simply there. In his hand, He is idly spinning his kukri, the heavy blade catching the faint light, a silver crescent in the dark. He is letting Tanaka see him. Tanaka's mind breaks. This is not Bushido. This is not a contest of will or spirit. This is a game, and he is the mouse. He screams, a high, thin shriek of pure, unadulterated rage and fear. He brings his arisaka up and fires, not aiming, just firing. The muzzle flash illuminates the Gurkha's face, revealing the same flat, terrifyingly calm expression. The bullet goes wide. The Gurkha doesn't even flinch. He just rolls backward, off the parapet and into the jungle, disappearing. Tanaka stands, shaking, his rifle empty, the bolt locked back. He has given away his position, his panic, his everything. And now, the response. From the left, from the right, from the jungle behind the man who had just vanished, a chorus of high, bird-like whistles erupts. Not one, not two, a dozen. They are all around him. They are celebrating. They are signaling the end of the game. The raid wasn't to take the bunker, it was to take his mind. To dismantle his unit, piece by bloody piece, and leave him, the commander, to witness the impossible. To see the barefoot children he mocked tear his hardened veteran troops apart like wet paper. He hears a new sound, a rustle. In the trench, behind him, back the way he came. He fumbles for a new stripper clip, his fingers thick and useless. The clip clatters into the mud. He drops the useless rifle. He pulls his Nambu pistola weapon of last resort, a badge of his rank. He turns. The trench is dark, but the darkness has a shape. It is larger than the man he saw, and it is not alone. Two figures, small, broad, and utterly silent, are blocking his retreat. And from the trench ahead, toward the command post, two more. He is boxed in. The hunters have closed the trap. The figure in front of him, the closest one, steps into a patch of faint moonlight. He is young, barely a man. He holds his kukri low, the point angled up. Tanaka raises his Nambu. He has one bullet. The Gurkha does not raise his blade to block. He does not tense. He just watches, curious. And then, he says a single word. A word Tanaka learned from a British prisoner. Tonight, the Gurkha says, his voice soft, almost polite. You die. Tanaka's world, built on the laughter of superiority, collapses into the sound of a single, chilling whistle and the shadow of a falling blade. May 15th, 1943, 2:33 a.m. The Kabaw Valley. Tonight, you die. The words, spoken in broken English, hang in the air. Tanaka's mind, which had been a whirlwind of terror, snaps into a single, sharp point of defiance. He is a sergeant. He is samurai. He screams a final, guttural banzai, and shoves the Nambu pistol forward, firing at the closest shape. The flash is blinding, the crack of the pistol painfully loud in the narrow trench. The Gurkha is not there. He hadn't dodged. He had simply flowed. In the instant Tanaka's finger tightened, the Gurkha had moved under the pistol's arc, his body low to the mud. Tanaka feels a thud against his ribs, not a cut, but a hard, solid impact. The Gurkha's shoulder. The blow sends Tanaka staggering back, his shot going wild, high into the rain. Before he can recover, before he can even comprehend the speed, a second shape is on him. This one doesn't come from the front. It comes from above. The Gurkha on the parapet, the one he had shot, had not retreated. He had just repositioned. He drops into the trench, landing behind Tanaka, silent as a cat, even in the deep mud. Tanaka feels a sudden, shocking coldness, not on his back, but on his left hand. He looks down. His hand, the one holding the Nambu pistol, is gone. It is lying in the mud, still clutching the weapon. A kukri, in one single, upward swing from behind, has severed his arm at the wrist. He has no time to scream. He has no time to feel the pain. He just stares at his own, detached hand in disbelief. The first Gurkha, the one who spoke, is now in front of him. He hasn't raised his blade. He simply watches, his face still holding that flat, terrible calm. He wants Tanaka to see, to understand. Then from the dark, a high, thin whistle. The signal again. Time to leave. The Gurkha nods, almost as if in apology for the necessity of the act. Then he strikes. It is not a stab. It is not a slash. It is a chop. The Kukri, with the full, concentrated weight and power of the Gurkha's body behind it, comes down. Tanaka, in his last, frozen moment, sees the heavy, forward-curving blade. He sees the barefoot soldier. He feels nothing at all. 5:45 a.m. Dawn. The rain has stopped. The air is cool, and a sickly grey light filters through the jungle canopy. The Kabaw Valley is, for the first time in days, quiet. Lieutenant Watanabe, leading a two-man patrol from the main garrison, curses as he wades through the calf-deep mud of the communication trench. The forward bunker, Tanaka's position, was supposed to report in at 4. It was now almost 6. The line is dead, his radioman had said. Just silence. Watanabe had assumed it was the rain, a faulty wire. Now, as he gets closer, he feels a cold pit in his stomach. The air doesn't smell right. The normal morning smells of damp earth and cooking fires are gone, replaced by that same coppery slaughterhouse tang that Tanaka had smelled hours earlier. Sergeant Tanaka, Watanabe calls out. His voice sounds small in the vast, dripping silence. He rounds the final bend, the one that leads to the main trench line. He stops. His two soldiers, following close behind, crash into his back. "Lieutenant," one of them whispers, trying to see around him. Watanabe does not move. He cannot. He is staring at a scene from a butcher's nightmare. The trench is not a military position. It is an abattoir. Ota, the machine gun feeder, is slumped against the wall, his own guts piled neatly on his lap. Hideo, the man who had laughed, is a headless mound of uniform by the bunker. Endo, the gunner, is in 2 separate, distinct pieces. Sato, the recruit, is inside the bunker, his head caved in by a single, brutal blow. And Tanaka, the lieutenant, finds his sergeant last. Tanaka is sitting upright, propped against the trench wall, his back to the jungle. His eyes are open, staring at the rising sun. He is in perfect, full-dress order, his helmet on, except for his arms. Both of his hands and the pistol he was holding have been placed, almost formally, in his lap. And pinned to his chest, driven deep into his sternum with a crude, sharp bamboo spike, is a single, worn, standard-issue Japanese army boot. Watanabe feels his stomach revolt. He turns and vomits into the mud. One of his soldiers, a young private, just stares, his mind unable to process the message. Who? What did this? Techie? Watanabe, wiping his mouth, looks at the boot. He looks at the hacked, butchered bodies of his comrades. He looks at the impossible silence, the untouched wire. He now knows the meaning of the new, strange whistle his patrols had reported. He now understands the joke his men had been telling, the one about the barefoot mercenaries. The laughter has stopped. In the mud-filled, blood-soaked jungle of Burma, a new, terrible legend has been born. And it has a name. Ao Gurkhali.